Hey everyone, welcome to another Stonehearth Desktop Tuesday. Alpha 18 is currently out on Steam Unstable, and we're very happy to say that it contains a piece of functionality we've been waiting to reintroduce for a couple of alphas now, the ability to remove buildings. We disabled your ability to remove buildings a couple of alphas ago for a few reasons. First of all, it just didn't work very well. Our old building removal system was the exact reverse of successfully building buildings. Hearthlings would have to put up scaffolding, ladders, etc. to reach parts of the building so that they could bang on them and take them down. This meant destroying a building was subject to all of the same bugs that creating a building was. Scaffolding dependencies, for example. Lots of building destruction attempts only progressed part way, getting worse and worse as structures got more complicated. Eventually, it became so frustrating that we figured it would be better to remove the button than falsely advertise functionality that would fail 90% of the time. With our new building system, we figured destruction would become more successful, but there was still another problem, that destruction would take just as long as construction. In the case of giant castles, for example, destruction could take months. From a gameplay perspective, this is problematic. I think there ought to be a time cost involved in putting up a large structure, and it's satisfying to see it go up slowly. But building teardown ought to be different. Maybe the building just didn't turn out the way you wanted it, or maybe the building is in the wrong location, or maybe you just don't want it around anymore, or maybe you need the resources back. There are lots of reasons to tear down a building, and in all of these cases, waiting a potentially huge amount of time is less satisfying. So that leads us to building destruction in Alpha 18, which is what we call the let's just blow everything up option. And here it is, in action. Once Chris decided that blowing up buildings was the right way to take them down, he had to figure out how it should look. After you hit the remove button, the actual effect is relatively simple. Chris takes all of the pieces of the building and chunks them further, making sure we have the maximum size for each piece of the existing building. So a large roof will get split up, for example, into smaller segments. After that, we swap out the actual model of the building structure for the new chunks, apply a little gravity and rotational acceleration, and then let them fall. There's no collision with the ground yet, so it's a very simple effect, but especially on larger structures we think it looks quite pleasing. For items placed in the walls or on floors, we turn them back into their iconic versions and then let gravity do its thing. You get back all of your items when a building is removed and the dust settles, but only 70% of the resources that went into actual construction. We encountered some awkward bugs with hearthlings, however. Originally we thought it would be cool to write some AI to get all the hearthlings to evacuate a building upon removal. However, we weren't sure how long it would take them, and if you the player would still be watching as their Pathfinder attempted to evacuate them, and what would happen if someone couldn't make it out. So for now, building destruction is immediate, and people are unharmed by it, and we worked through some unfortunate bugs in which people were sleeping in beds on second floors of buildings, and then got trapped up there forever after their beds got blown up from under them. There's a few more things we're considering adding to this feature, for example some fancier VFX for explosions, or better hearthling reactions upon discovering that their building is about to explode. In a future alpha, we may also consider making this kind of speedy building removal the function of a higher level class, like an architect, and smaller, earlier structures would still have to be removed by your hearthlings block by block. And that's it for this week. Please give the feature a whirl on our Steam Unstable branch and let us know how it's working for you. You can tell us what you think here in the comments, or on our forum at discourse.stonehearth.net, or during our live streams, which happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. PST, or on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. PST. See you then, or see you next week.